Hello, my name is Isabella Quintero, and I'll be sharing with you about the article L-Carnitine Supplementation by Dr. Majid. The purpose of this article is to research the effects of LCR, which is L-Carnitine, and I'll refer to it as LCR throughout the presentation, and the supplementation it has on exercise performance via resistance training, anaerobic testing through male subjects. So the tests that they're going to do are the bench press, leg press, and cycle ergometer, as well as blood lactate tests. Summary. The subjects were 23 healthy men between the ages 18 to 40 years old. They all participated in a placebo-controlled and double-blind study over a 9-week period. The placebo group and LCR group were instructed to ingest a capsule. The LCR group took the L-carnitine pill, and the placebo group ingested an identical capsule, which did not contain anything, just a sugar pill, basically. The resistance exercise testing methods were the bench press and leg press. All participants were instructed to log their daily food intake, and the body comp was measured before and after the 9-week protocol. Overall, the L-carnitine group exercise performance increased in both the upper and lower body tests over the 9-week period. All right, and these are just important articles throughout the main article that aided in understanding what was going on and kind of helped me understand what was going on throughout the article in a more in-depth way. The problem hypotheses. The experimenters were wanting to discover if L-carnitine may or may not have a positive effect with men's exercise performance in the anaerobic state and resistance training tests, while also reducing muscle damage markers. So, carrying on. The methodology, the materials were the participants, again, 18 to 40 years old, in good health. They all range from 10 to 25% body fat and at least had 1 year in training age. There's a placebo group and the double-blind group, which was the L-carnitine group. And again, they used 1 gram capsule of L-carnitine, and they ingested that at breakfast and lunch. And again, the tests were the resistance training test, the bench press and leg press, and then the anaerobic training, which was a Wingate test on the support cycle ergometer. And they used the DEXA scan in order to test their body comp. The experimental group, so the LCR group, they were placed in the groups based on their age, body mass, and resistance training age. Each participant was educated by a research nutritionist and a strength and conditioning specialist about their training regimen over the 9-week protocol. And again, the LCR group ingested 1 gram of L-carnitine capsule at breakfast and lunch daily over the 9-week period. Step-by-step experiment. So all participants gave blood samples, tested their body comp, exercise performance tests, and blood lactate tests. And those were all performed at weeks 3, 6, and 9 in order to track them over the 9-week period. The upper and lower body strength was assessed using the isotonic bench and leg press in order to determine an estimated 1 RM for the major lifts. And the 1 RM was executed by first following through with the proper warm-up, starting at 50% of the lift, which was the estimated 1 RM for the 50%. Once the 1 RM was determined, subjects then performed 70% of their 1 RM for 2 sets of 10 for the bench press and leg press. And then the last set was a till failure set, so meaning as many reps as possible, still maintaining good form until they can no longer continue. And then next, they performed the anaerobic capacity assessment using, again, the Wingate cycle ergometer at 0.7 torque. Subjects performed an all-out maximal capacity test for 30 seconds. So they had a 10-second warm-up and then kind of built up until they were commanded go for the 30-second all-out test. Then body composition was measured again by the DEXA, and they were all scanned in the morning in a fasted state. The blood lactate levels were measured by a finger prick before and immediately after the Wingate test. And continuing on, the supplementation protocol. So again, the supplement was ingested during breakfast and lunch hour. And both groups were asked to do a 3-day food recall. That way the research nutritionists can follow the subject's day-to-day food. Both groups executed a 4-day split resistance training protocol, meaning they trained just 4 days a week. The training volume was parallel between both groups. The program included 15 exercises, which was the bench press, lat pull down, shoulder press, seated row, dips, pull over, bicep curl, tricep push down, leg press, leg extension, leg curl, back extension, half squat, standing calf raise, and stiff leg deadlift. For all exercises, it was 3 to 6 sets of 18 to 15 repetitions. These are performed with as much weight while maintaining, again, proper form, and the training intensity was between 70 to 85% of their 1RM that they performed. And then there was a biochemical analysis, so both total and free L-carnitine levels were measured using the enzyme cycling method. And here are some results of the diet characteristics. So they weren't strict with what the subjects ate. They just wanted them to stick to their normal daily intake of what they had before. So the diet didn't really have much to do with the study towards the end, which we'll see at the end. Here are the bench press and other lifts and the Wingate that was performed. And as you can see over time, especially in the leg press reps, increased in the carnitine subjects opposed to the placebo subjects. So that kind of is a sneak peek of the results. Carrying on. Here we go is the strength performance. So as you can see, again, the dark circle is the carnitine group. So again, over the period of the 9 weeks, it increased in repetition. So the oxidative capacity that the muscles were able to take on with the supplementation. So there was an increase there. Carrying on, and this is a change in the Wingate test. So as we can see again over the 9 weeks, there was an increase of the capacity of the oxidative load. So it did increase. So overall, we did see over the 9-week period that the data showed that L-carnitine in fact did have a positive impact on the muscle strength, power, and ability to handle an increased load of oxidative stress. The data showed us that by week 9, the blood lactate accumulation decreased post-Wingate test in the L-carnitine groups compared to the placebo groups, and by week 6, strength levels increased in the L-carnitine group compared to the placebo group. So they did do a blood lactate test, and towards the end of the 9 weeks, with a finger prick, they did see that the blood lactate accumulation did decrease. So that's how they measured that, was through the finger prick right after the Wingate test. And continued, it was recognized towards the end of the experiment that there was not a high correlation between strength and muscle mass gain. So they did share a study by Sawika, if I'm pronouncing that right. He did show that with 8 weeks of LCR supplementation combined with creatine, leucine, and vitamin D resulted in an increase in muscle mass and strength due to elevated activation of the mTOR pathway. But because this study only involves supplementation of L-carnitine, there was no increase in muscle mass, just strength. So maybe a longer study needed to happen, or a longer period of time that L-carnitine needed to be ingested. We won't know, and we don't know if they will do another study or continue to another one. Conclusion: as mentioned in the analysis, the hypothesis was correct. I do agree with the authors on their study and why they're so successful. I believe they owe their subjects a lot of their success. This is just because their training age was not 0, so they didn't have to worry about any neurological things with lifting or them learning that first. So that was good that they recruited good subjects. The subjects were also healthy and did have a semi-athletic background, so that always aids with a good study. And overall, it did show that the supplementation of L-carnitine does help increase strength, anaerobic performance, and decreasing blood lactate levels post-exercise, meaning it helps aid in recovery. So, and that's all. Hope you enjoyed it.